Hello, this is Mr. Failer. I am your eCampus instructor for this term. I just wanted to record a quick lecture, first of all, so that we can make sure that you're able to access these recordings and watch them. They will be an important part of the course. I do post lectures to explain various skills and give feedback, explain assignments. So it's a key thing in this course. So some students aren't real good about watching these lectures, but if you do watch them, I think you'll get the insights that you need on assignments to get the best grade that you can get. So this lecture is going to focus on just sort of an orientation of the course layout, how to navigate the shell, and sort of how to use some of the resources that I have available. So when you log in to Blackboard, right now I have a setting so that the Start Here menu is the first menu that you see. So you'll see this Welcome to eCampus message, and this message contains some important information about the first week, the textbook, using the Start Here menu to access various documents that are important. So I'm going to go over those today just so that I can show you so you can sort of feel comfortable using the shell. All right, so first of all, we do have a textbook in this course. You can access it through this link. I also have on the Start Here menu, I have another link down here to the course text. So Successful College Composition Textbook. So when you pull up this course text, when you follow that link, you'll pull this up in Galileo. Now, when you download the text, I'd like you to download the accessible PDF because that's the version that is the easiest to use. You can save it to any number of devices. So if you have a laptop, you could just go ahead and save it on the laptop. It's a good idea to have a copy saved, just in case you ever have internet problems, you can still access the course text. So the PDF version, if you just click download, it will download it to your computer. So that's how to access the textbook. A couple very important documents that I want to show you are the course syllabus and the assignments and due date schedule. So let me show you the assignments and due dates schedule first. So this document is very important. You should print it off, put it somewhere prominent on a refrigerator or above your desk or in a folder, just so that you can have quick and easy reference to this. So this basically lists all of the assignments that you're going to complete this term. And it's organized in folders. So I have folder 1, folder 2, and folder 3. And I'll show you in a second how that corresponds to the lessons menu item in the course shell. Now in folder 1, we have a free writing activity on the discussion board, and that's not due until Wednesday the 18th. So you have time to acquaint yourself with the course shell and read the instructions, maybe do some reading. So if you want to go ahead and do that early, no problem. With all of these assignments, you can do them early if you would like. The due dates are basically the end date. So anything after that date, it's late. So if you want to work a little bit ahead, I encourage that. But be careful not to take any quizzes before you're ready, because once you take them, they count. All right, so the first thing that you'll do is the course enrollment, confirm course enrollment. The next assignment that's due is going to be this focused free writing on the discussion board. Now, the way to use this assignment and due dates document is maybe every Sunday afternoon, sit down and plan your week. Just look ahead and say, well, this week is the 9th through the 15th. So what do I have due? The 9th through the 15th, I only have one assignment that I have to do, and that's on the 13th, Friday. So once you get that assignment done, you can just go ahead and turn it in, and you know that you can work with your schedule. Okay, when can I sit down and do this assignment? When can I turn it in? As long as it's due by midnight on that day. So um, when you sit down next week and plan your week, you'll say, okay, well, it's the 16th through the 22nd. So what's due on the 16th through the 22nd? Just one more assignment, the focused free writing. Now, as we move on through the course, you may have two or even three assignments due in a week. So if you're sitting down at the beginning of each week and just plotting out, okay, these are the assignments that are due and these are the days that I have to have them in, it makes it a lot easier not to miss deadlines. So that's the assignment and due dates document. Also, if you know that you're going to be out of town for something during a critical period where something is due, it's very important that you get in touch with me beforehand. So I'm a lot more easygoing if students contact me before things come up, scheduled things or doctor's appointments, things like that, so that I know, and then I can basically give you another due date. But if you contact me after the assignment's due, I'm going to have to penalize you for late work, or after 3 days, I don't accept the work at all. So it's very important to meet these due dates and stay in contact and turn things in on time. The number one reason that students fail this course is they just accumulate a lot of zeros, missed assignments. And I have a very heavy workload. I have a lot of students, so I can't go back and grade late work because I always have new work coming in that I need to grade. So I can't grade 2 or 3 weeks of worth of assignments at the very end of the term. It just doesn't work that way. So when you open up the syllabus, the course syllabus, you can see in more detail my late work policy. So I would go ahead and read that, and let me know if you have any questions about that policy. Now, we might as well take a look at the syllabus. You can download the syllabus. Drag it over here. All right, so I do have some contact information here. My preferred method of correspondence is that you use the email that is in the course shell in Blackboard. That's just the easiest way to communicate and to have a record of the communication all in one place. Um, my office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and I do have a phone number here. I can't promise that I'll be in my office every time you call, but if you want to send me an email, if you did want to talk to me, we could schedule a live session through, um, I could set up a live session through the virtual room in the course shell, or if you just wanted to give me a call. But it's a good idea to go ahead and make an appointment because I may not be in my office every time you call. But I'm basically available from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Um, you can see that I have my wiregrass.edu email up there, but I do prefer that you use the course mail that is in the course shell. But if you have to email me at my work email address, there it is. All right, so there is some important information in this syllabus, so it's very important to read through it. I won't go over everything right now, but I do want to show you some highlights. So first of all is the student evaluation and academic grading. So you can see that different types or classifications of assignments are given different grading weights in the class. So discussion and classwork is 20% of your grade. Quizzes are 15%. Grammar and mechanics final exam at the end is 15%. And then we have our three essays. Essay 1 is 15, essay 2 is 15, and then essay 3 is 20% of your grade. So all of this should total 100%. Now, a way to think about this is points. So we have a 1 to 100 average. So a 100 being a perfect score, 100%. So think of your Um, so grade weights as how many points out of a 100 on your final grade are these? So you can see that discussion and classwork is 20%. So if you didn't do any discussion and classwork, the highest grade that you could get in this class would be an 80%. Um, but for that to be true, you would have to get a 100 on everything else. So it's very important that you do all of your work, and no one thing is going to drag you down so far that you won't have a chance to pass. But if you have a lot of zeros in a lot of these different categories, like let's say you don't do your first essay and you miss several quizzes, that's really going to drag your overall average down. So it's very important to do all of your work. All right, I do have some descriptions of these categories in the syllabus. Um, and the student enrollment and participation requirements. This is important because you're in an online class. You're to log in regularly and complete work. So in an online class, you never just want to take a few weeks off and just sort of forget about it for a few weeks and then think you can come back to it, because by the time you come back to it, you will have had many missed assignments. We're going to be at a completely different place, and there's just going to be too much to catch up with. So don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, I can take the first 2 or 3 weeks off and then I'll get serious, or oh, I'm busy, I'm not going to log in for a few weeks. That's a recipe for disaster. So it's very important that you log in every day, every couple of days, just to check and see if there are any new announcements. Also, you're planning your week, so you know that you have work coming up. There's plenty to do in the course shell, whether it's recorded lectures, reading assignments. I have PowerPoints listed that you can use for reviewing information from the chapters, and grammar skills and so on. So there's plenty to do in the course shell in terms of studying. So there's no reason not to log in for any length of time. All right. Academic integrity, um, plagiarism, cheating. Sometimes students don't understand that this is a broad palette of different things that you could do that might create an academic integrity issue. One that people don't realize is that all work in this course has to be original to this course. So make sure that you're not recycling work from other courses that you've already turned in, because if it's flagged in the system, um, then it would be considered plagiarism, even though it's work that you did. It's not work that you did for this course. So make sure that you are doing original work. If you have an old research paper somewhere, don't try to dust it off and make it work for this course. You have to do a new research paper for this course. Also, don't share your work with other students, because if they copy it and I see two students that have the same work, then both of you, um, would lose credit for that assignment. So there's no reason to cheat or to try to cut corners. If you do all of the work, the reading, if you follow instructions, you should do just fine. Now, my late work policy um, is basically that, let's see if I have where I have it. Yes, so it's under student enrollment, participation requirements, missed and late work policy. Um, So the very important paragraph is here at the end. I'll go ahead and read through it. So all work must be submitted to Blackboard before the posted deadlines. Make-up opportunities will only be offered to students whose missed deadlines are pre-approved by the instructor or have a documented excuse. So even if I'm pre-approving, um, if you have something coming up that's going to keep you from turning in an assignment, I'm still going to ask you for some sort of documentation. So I've had students just take a picture of a doctor's excuse, showing when they were treated or when they had surgery, things like that. You can if there's any personal information there, you can just sort of, take a Sharpie to it. But as long as there's information there that I can see that confirms that you were not able to complete the assignment on that date. And this applies to all circumstances. So I'm not being mean when I ask for documentation, I'm just being fair. I have a lot of students tell me a lot of different things, so that's why I ask for documentation. Even, God forbid, if it's a funeral, I may ask for an obituary or something. So just know that I do ask for documentation in all circumstances for late work. Late work is penalized 10% for each day it is late for up to 3 days. And then on the fourth day, it is a zero. So I'm just not going to revisit work that's later than 3 days. It will be penalized for each day that it's late because it's not fair to the other students if you have more time to complete assignments than the other students do. Now, if you want to avoid the late penalty, then it's up to you to provide that documentation. So make sure that you stay in contact with me. And if I do approve a documented excuse for a missed assignment, it must be completed within 7 days. So you can't take the rest of the term to complete it. Um, and if I make any exceptions to any policy, if I allow any retakes on quizzes, or sometimes I'll allow students to make up, missed quizzes at the end. But if I do that, that policy will apply to the entire class. So anything that I do, outside of a documented excuse would apply to the whole class. Now, something that a lot of students ask me for at the very end of the term is extra credit, and I do not offer extra credit. So make sure that you are turning the assignments in as they are due, and that you're reading instructions and doing a good job on your work, and you won't need any extra credit. The reason for that is that it is difficult at the very end of the term to assign extra credit that is comparable to the skills and requirements and objectives for the assignments throughout the term. So I just don't bother with extra credit. So just do it right the first time, and then you won't have to worry at the end. All right, so take a look at that syllabus in more detail when you get a chance. Now, another aspect of this course that I wanted to show you are these menu items. Now, sometimes students are confused depending on your computer. This menu may be hidden on the left side here. So if you don't see that menu and you don't know how to access it, just look for this little arrow on the left, and that will pull out your menu. So this is how you access different parts of the course. So we have our announcements. I sent the first announcement out today. So check your email or read it here in announcements. It may have gone to your home institution's email, but in the course shell, it appears in announcements. So make sure and read all of these communications carefully, because I give a lot of advice, reminders, tips, things that you need to start doing to be ready for future assignments. So that's under announcements. Now I send out at least one a week, previewing the week. And I also may send out more announcements, just reminding people of assignments, reminding the class, or giving feedback. Sometimes I give group feedback on assignments, so you can read feedback that way. So keep your eyes peeled for these announcements. Lessons is an important menu item. So you can see that I have my folders here. Now, if you remember, the assignments and due dates document was broken up into 3 folders. So we have folder 1, folder 2, folder 3. Each one of these folders is like a learning module, and it's organized around the assignment, the writing assignment that is coming up. So folder 1 is all of the work that leads up to the narrative essay. Folder 2 is all of the work that leads up to the analysis essay. And folder 3 is all of the work that leads up to the um, the researched argumentative essay. So think of these, all of the assignments that you do in these folders, these are helping you to develop the skills that you're going to need to do a good job on the essays. And think of the essays as like module tests. This is where you show off all of the composition and research and formatting skills that you've been working on in each folder. Now, folder 4 is the grammar mechanics folder. So you'll be going into this folder um, while you're working in all three of these folders. So you may be working in folder 1, but you have to go into the grammar folder for the syntax lecture or PowerPoint or to take the quiz. So all grammar and mechanics assignments are in folder 4. All right, so let's just open up folder 1. I do give you module goals and activities at the top, and this is where you can find your reading assignments, the objectives that are related to the course. And so these chapter sections are very short, so don't be intimidated if you see, oh, I have to read all these chapters. Well, some of these are chapter 1.1, 1.2, 1.5. Some of them are only several pages long. So make sure that you are reading all of these sections because they will apply. They're important information. I also have PowerPoint presentations in a folder here that you can look at to review, just to sort of help summarize some of the material from the text. Uh, I also have a list of the activities and assessments that I want you to complete in this folder. And this also corresponds with the assignments and due dates document. Um, there are some links that I have in this folder. One is to the discussion board, the other is to the grammar folder. So you can link those directly in this, or you can use the menu. So this takes you to the same place. So the discussion board link takes you to the discussion board, which is down here, and I'll show you. So I have an MLA resources folder. So these resources folders, these are handouts and PowerPoints, and that sort of help you to study and to give you important information. So these are not necessarily optional. I do want you to look at them because they are going to contain important information. For example, the MLA resources folder. I have an MLA 8th edition overview. 8th and 9th edition are essentially the same, so it's okay to look at MLA 8th edition materials. I have a little mini handbook for works cited and bibliographic citation. I have some links to some helpful sites outside. I have some examples, so it's very important to look at these resources. All right. So also I have assignments here. So when you get ready to complete these activities, the activities are kind of like practice quizzes. You can take them unlimited number of times until you achieve the score that you want. So you should be able to see what you got wrong so that you can go back and study and then take it again. And you can take it as many times as you would like until you receive your highest grade. These activities are a little bit different from the quizzes. The quizzes you only can take once or twice, depending on if I give an extra attempt, and that grade stands. But these activities you can go back and take however many times you want until you get the grade that you want, because it's a learning activity, whereas the quiz is an assessment. Now, when you get ready to turn in your narrative essay, this is where you'll do it. I have the instructions here, and I have some samples for you, examples, and a rubric to look at. But it's very important that you work through the assignments and you complete the readings and listen to any lectures that I post before you turn in your essay. I always have students that just turn in their essay right away and they miss a lot of stuff. They weren't reading instructions carefully and they get a very low grade on that essay. So it's real important to wait before you do any of the major assignments. Make sure that you've done the work leading up to those assignments. Now the discussion board, I'll go ahead and skip down there because some of your assignments like the very first assignment, the focused free write, you may not find it in this folder because it's in the discussion board. And I'll tell you which assignments or discussion board assignments here. So if I go to my discussion board link, menu item, you can see that I have all of the discussion board assignments in one place. So you would just open these up and go ahead. Now, sometimes you can answer these discussion boards in the window, the sort of like a text window that you can use. Then other times I require you to upload an MLA formatted electronic document. So that's a Word document or a PDF. Blackboard does not work well with Google Docs. So if you're using Google Docs, you'll have to change it when you save it. Save it as a Word document or a PDF. You may have to practice with this a few times because sometimes the formatting might change in that translation. So formatting is very important in this class. So you want to pay attention to that and work that out. Also in these discussion board assignments, I'm going to ask you to comment on the work of other students. That's what makes it a discussion board. So if I ask you to comment, you have to make specific comments that show that you've read and thought about the other students' work and you're giving constructive feedback. Don't just say, great job, or we had the same answers, because you could say that without even reading that student's work. So if you want full credit on these discussion board assignments, when I do require feedback, then I want to see something specific that took some thought. If it's just, good job, or I had the same answer, that doesn't count. So make sure that you're giving specific feedback when it's required. All right, the course mail menu item is on this menu too, here on the left. So if you need to send me an email, go ahead and use this email. The virtual room, if you have to access the virtual room for, if let's say that we're meeting, or I post a lecture, I'm going to try to post links in the course shell to all the lectures, but you can also go to the virtual room and look at recordings and just choose the ones that you want to watch. And I do have instructions for using the virtual room in the Start Here menu. My grades is where you can check your grades and also look at my feedback. So when you turn something in and you get it back graded, you can go into my grades and actually click on the assignment, and you should be able to access my feedback. It's very important. I do have a lot of students in the section, so um, there are some things I have to do in order to speed things up. Sometimes my feedback might be, I may, have certain very short phrases but I'll always tell you what those mean. And I'll also give group feedback that might apply to everyone rather than typing it out 100 times over and over again. So read the feedback that I do give you, and also watch these announcements for group feedback on assignments. All right, also Galileo, there's a link to Galileo here. Eventually, you're going to have to use Galileo for your research assignments and some of your other assignments. So make sure that you know how to access Galileo. That's something I really want you to do this week. You're going to confirm your course enrollment in the Start Here menu, start reading the assigned readings, and make sure that you know how to access Galileo. If you have any technical problems, with the technology side of things, I would encourage you to contact the distance education office of your home institution. I'm not really an IT person. I know some things, but I'm not well versed in all the different programs and types of laptops and how to get things to work. All you should know is that it's your responsibility to make it work. In an online class, it's your responsibility to make sure that you have internet, that you have technology, and that you're able to do the things that you need to do to complete the assignments. All right, so that's all I have for today. I'm going to keep it rather brief for this first lecture, and keep your eyes peeled in the folders that we're working in for any new lectures, and I'll always send out an announcement saying that I just posted a new lecture. So make sure and watch these. I hope everyone was able to access this lecture. If you were, then, or if you just watched this lecture, it means everything's working fine. So I'm glad that you were able to get in and watch this. So I will talk to you next time. And until then, send me an email if you have any questions. So good luck.